Hello, 5th grade. How are you? Today, what we're going to be doing is dividing by more base 10 numbers. You will need your prime book, Scholastic Book 5A, and we'll be working on page 26 and 27. Let's just do a little bit of review just from last time, just so that you understand this concept a little bit better. On Friday, we learned about just dividing by base 10 numbers. So if you're going to have 20,000 and you divide that by 10, our number is going to get smaller. All right, 2,000 is our answer. Again, when we multiply, our number always gets bigger, right? Our answer gets bigger. But when we divide, we need to understand that our number is getting smaller, okay? Because we're just dividing that among many different items or people or students or whatever it might be. So let's actually jump right into the first couple of problems on page 26. When we look at these types of problems, okay, we are basically just separating them out and simplifying the problem, okay? So what I'd like you to do is we're going to go to these problems right here. I'm going to simplify 360. I'm just going to put that just right over here. Okay, we're going to separate that out, 360, and 40 equals 4 times 10, all right? Prime wants us to just separate those out just so we can see them a little bit better, okay? I can actually simplify these problems, okay, just like we did last time by dividing both sides by 10. 36 divided by 1 equals 36. All right, and then I'm just going to drop down my 4 right there. Again, what I did was I simplified both sides by dividing both sides by 10. Okay, by dividing both sides by 10, I can get rid of those right leading zeros on the side, okay? Those zeros that are to the right of our main numbers, okay? And then I just divided by 1, which equals 36, and then divided by 4, which is going to give me the answer as 9, right? 36 divided by 4 equals 9. If I wanted to check that, I could take 4 times what number equals 36, and 9, that sure is my answer. Okay, let's change the color so we can do the next problem. 250 divided by 50. Well, if I take 250 and I just plop that right into this blank right here, and then I separate out my other numbers, 50 can be equal to 10 times 5. Okay, so I'm dividing all of these numbers, and I can simplify 250 by dividing it by 10, right? Divide 250 by 10 and divide 10 by 10. I am left with 25. Okay, and I just drop my number into my blank so that we can continue with the division. I think we all know that 25 divided by 5 equals 5. All right, so we have our first two answers for our first two problems. It's getting pretty simple. All right, let's try another one. Let's try letter C. 5,600 divided by 800. Well, again, I'm going to put my first number in that blank just to represent it out. Okay, and I can simplify 800 into 100 times 8. So I'm going to divide all of those out. If I want to simplify even more, I'm going to divide both sides by 100, because 100 divided by 100 is just going to equal 1. And if I divide 5,600 by 100, that's going to give me 56. So let me chop off those zeros, those leading zeros at the end. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. 56 divided by 1 is 56. And then I'm going to just lower my 8 into my problem. 56 divided by 8, we should all know, since we practice our multiplication facts, equals 7, because 7 times 8 equals 56. All right, let's do the last problem on page 26. Let me do this one in black so you can see it. 4,200, or you could say 4,200 divided by 60. Again, I'm just going to put my number in there. There are multiple ways of doing these problems. This is just the way that Prime recommends. 60 is equal to 10 times 6, so that I can simplify this problem a little bit easier. I'm going to divide both sides by 10, and I'm left with 420 divided by 1. I know that 420 divided by 1, here's my 420, now that I've gotten rid of that 0, divided by 1 equals 420. So I'm going to put that in my blank, 420 divided by 6. I know that 6 times some number gives me 42. That number is 7. So that means that if we have that extra 0 right there, okay, instead of 42, we have 420, we're going to have to add a 0 to our answer, okay? It's almost like adding that extra 0 like right there, okay? It's almost like doing that, all right? So our answer is going to be 70, all right? 70 times 6 equals 420. Let me show you that on the calculator just so that we can check it, okay? Because that might be a different concept for you. Maybe you're not totally familiar with multiplying by tens. We did practice it, but get my calculator up here. Here we go. All right. So we take 420 divided by 6, and we get 70. All right? Just like 6 times 7 is 42. Okay, cool. Let's do the next problem. Let me erase all of this, and let's go to the next problem. Letter E. Now, these are going to get a little bit more complicated, okay? Because we don't have just straightforward answers. So, 1,050 divided by 7. Well, I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. 1,050. In fact, just to save time, I'm just going to put that first number in my first blank on every one of my problems, just so that I don't have to keep explaining it. All right. 63,000 goes in that first blank. Okay, let me write that over again. Sorry about that. My screen is very small. All right, and I cannot write on this screen. Here we go. And 96,000. Okay. All right, so for each one of these problems, I'm going to break it up again into the two separate numbers that we can just multiply by, right? 400 is equal to 4 times 100. Okay. 9,000 is equal to 1,000 times 9. And 6,000 is equal to 1,000 times 6. Okay? So we're understanding that we're breaking these numbers into their parts, right? The thousands and the base number, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, forgot to do the first one. That was 10 times 7. What I can do is I can just simplify these by dividing, just like we've done before, okay? I'll do that second step maybe in blue, so we're understanding. I can divide both sides by 10, and I'm left with 105. Okay? On this one, letter F, I'm going to divide both sides by 100 by getting rid of those two leading zeros, right? And I'm left with just 60. Okay? Let me pick a different color because it's a blue background. Here we go. If I divide both sides by what number? 1,000, I am left with 63. And with this one, I'm going to divide both sides not by 100, not by 10, but this one would be 1,000 because 1,000 has 3 zeros, right? I'm going to divide both sides by 1,000. When we divide, we get rid of those 3 zeros. And 96 divided by 1 is 96. Okay? We're going to plop that number into our problem just so we can continue the division. Okay? and we can just divide, okay? 105 divided by 7, well, we can do that if we want to. If you did it as a division problem, let's just do this first one, okay? We have 105, 7 goes into 1, 0 times, 7 goes into 10, 1 time, subtract, bring down my 5, 5 times 7 is 35, so that's actually 15, our answer is 15. If you wanted to check it on the calculator, you could, if you really wanted to. 60 divided by 4, well, 4 goes into 6 1 time, and then we take 6 minus 4 is 2, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. That would be 15. Do you see how I did that division in my brain? Eventually, you're going to be able to do those division problems in your brain. If not, you can always calculate them out, just like we did with that first problem. And you can check it on the calculator just to make sure you did it correctly. 60 divided by 4 equals 15. All right, let's do that last problem. 63 divided by 9. Well, if you know your multiplication facts, you know that 9 times some number, some whole number, equals 63, which equates to our division problem, and 7 is our answer. Okay? And let's do that last one. 96 divided by 6. Well, let's divide this one out. You might already know the answer because this one's also pretty simple to do in your brain. 6 goes into 9 1 time. 0 subtraction. 9 minus 6 is 3. Oops, let's do that 3 a little bit better. 3. Bring down my 6. And 6 goes into 36 6 times. So 16 is our answer. Okay? So we are learning how to divide bigger numbers, much bigger numbers, but there are some tricks. So make sure you understand those tricks so that you can do these problems a whole lot easier, okay? If you still don't understand these problems, what you can do is we can watch this quick video. I will show you the video, just a couple of minutes of it, all right? Just so that we can understand the problem a little bit better. If you'd like, go ahead and just listen, all right?
We were to take, I don't know, 450, and we were to divide it by 10. Well, you could imagine if multiplying by 10 shifts the digits one place to the left, then dividing by 10 is going to shift the digits one place to the right. And so we have a 4 in the hundreds place, we have a 5 in the tens place, and we have nothing in the ones place. And so what used to be in the hundreds place will now be in the tens place. So I will put that 4 right over there. And then what used to be in the tens place is now going to be in the ones place. So I will put that 5 over there. And we had nothing in the ones place. If we did, and this is a little bit out of this video's purpose, but you could start to think what might happen if this was not a 0. But we have 450 divided by 10 is 45, and it is indeed 45. Now another way to think about it.
So you'll see that what he did is he just divided 450 divided by 10, and he got 45. He's shifting those digits over by dividing, okay? I'm going to skip over to another part of the video which explains more about division, which is right here on this part. He's going to explain it right now.
What do you think, or based on everything we've looked at, what do you think if I were to take 75,000 and I wanted to divide it by 100? What do you think this is going to be? Pause the video and see if you can work. And is all of the digits shifted?
Why don't you pause that? Pause that. What do you guys think that might be? Let me put that right back on the screen. He had 75,000 divided by 100. Well, since we learned how to do this, we're just shifting those digits, those zeros, over to the right. So we get rid of 2 zeros on the 100 and get rid of 2 zeros on the 75,000. What would our answer be? Let's see if your answer is correct.
All right. Well, we've already seen if you divide by 10, you shift the digits one place to the right. And dividing by 100 is really the same thing as dividing by 10 twice. So we really just need to shift all our digits 2 places to the right. So what used to be in the 10,000s place is now going to go to the hundreds place. What used to be in the thousands place is now going to be in the tens place. And what used to be in the hundreds place is now going to go into the ones place. And so what we are going to get is, instead of 7 10,000s, we're going to get 7 hundreds. Instead of 5 thousands, we are going to get...
Oops.
Multiplying by 1,000 is multiplying by 164.
So this
Instead
video
of
I'll put
thousands, we are going to get 5 tens.
Sorry about that.
And then instead of 0 hundreds, we will now have 0 ones. So this is equal to 750. Another way to think about it, and we've talked about it before,
so
if you're dividing by...
We're going to pause that. That gives you just another perspective of how to divide by this base 10. Okay? Let's do these last problems on this next page. Okay? What I'd like you to do is we're going to just do those last problems. Actually, the first problem's on page 27. Okay? This one is with estimation. So we are actually estimating. The directions say estimate. Okay, which is a little bit easier, I think, to understand these problems. All right, if I estimate 282, what would my answer be? Well, 282 estimated out actually rounds up to 300. So let's put that 300. All right, there we go. And 52 estimated could be 50. It could be, if you're rounding to the nearest 100, it would be 100. We're just going to put 50 for the sake of this problem, okay? Your answers may vary. Your answers may be different, okay? If we divide 300 by 50, okay, and we don't need this part or this part. Sorry about that. We don't need this part or this part or this or this. Sorry about that. That was from the other problems. We're just going to divide 300 by 50, and if we wanted to simplify it, we could divide by 10 first, and 30 divided by 50 is 6. So our answer is 6. If you wanted to check that with the calculator, you could certainly do that. We know that 30 divided by 5 equals 6. You also know that 300 divided by 50 equals 6. So there you go. There's your answer, 6. Let's do the next one. We're going to estimate again. 324 estimated out. You could round to the nearest 10. Let's do that. Let's round this one to the nearest 10. 320. And 40 rounded to the nearest 10 would just be 42 rounded to the nearest 10 would just be 40. Okay? I know, since I know my multiplication facts, that 4 times some number gives me 32. 4 times some number gives me 32. That some number is 8. So therefore, 320 divided by 4 is similar. I'm just going to divide both sides by 10. 320 divided by 4 is the same thing as 32 divided by 4, which equals 8. Okay, there's my final answer, 8. All right. One big thing about these multiplication or division problems is just understanding patterns. Okay, so we have been finding lots of patterns in these problems. Let's see if we can find another pattern with letter C. 4,406 estimated would be, let's see, let's estimate to the nearest, I don't know, 100. You could go up to 4,500, or you could estimate down to 4,400. You could even continue to the nearest 1,000, which would be 4,000. Okay? Any one of those would work. The directions are not specific. But I am going to estimate 49 to 50. All right, we have that. I wonder, looking at my multiplication table in my brain, 5 times what number would give me an answer that's close to one of these base numbers? So we have 45 as a base number, 44 as a base number, and 40. Well, 40 is just way too small. Okay, I don't want to estimate it out that small, to the nearest 1,000. So I'm going to pick either 4,500 or 4,400. You know what? I think 45 would be a whole lot easier to understand because I know that 9 times 5 equals 45. So let's use this one. Okay, I'm going to erase the other ones. I'm going to erase these other estimations, and we're just going to go with 4,500. Okay, so let's write that 4,500 in this blank, and let's divide. 4,500 divided by 5. Well, I can divide both sides by 10. If I divide both sides by 10, I am left with 4. I can actually simplify this now. I'm left with 450 divided by 5. Now I really can figure out the answer because I know that since 5 times 9 is 45, I know that 5 times 90 is going to equal 450. Okay, so my answer must be 90. Let's check that on the calculator just to make sure. We have 4,500 divided by 50, which equals 90. And once I simplified, it's the same thing as 450 divided by 5, which also equals 90. So we got the correct answer. That's good. Let's do that last problem, okay? This one, we're going to, I don't know, estimate. Could we go estimate up, maybe? There's plenty of answers you guys could have, right? You could estimate to the nearest 100, and that would be 1,700 or 1,700. You could estimate to the nearest 10, and that would be, 1,710. You could estimate to the nearest 1,000, right? That would be 2,000. But I'm not going to pick any one of those numbers, actually. Because I know that if 31 is estimated to the nearest 10 as 30, I need to figure out a number that falls onto my multiplication table, right? For the 3's. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and so on, right? Well, 12 is not very close. 15 is a little bit closer. 18 is even closer. So I think I'm going to actually pick 18. I know that 3 times 6 equals 18. So I'm just going to pick 1,800 for my estimation, okay? None of these suit me. None of them are fine. I'm going to pick 1,800 as my estimation, okay? Again, these estimations will vary. All right. If I divide to try to find an easier number, what I'm going to do is divide both sides by 10, divide this side by 10, divide this side by 10, and I am left with, let's go back there. I am left with 180 divided by 3. Well, if I know that 3 times 6 equals 18, then I know that 60 times 3 equals 180. So that is my answer, 60. Let me check it on the calculator just to make sure. We always want to make sure that our answer is accurate or correct. My original problem was 1,800 divided by 30, and I got 60. If I divide both sides by 10, my new problem is 180 divided by 3, and that also gives me 60. So I did that correct. That concludes today's lesson. If you would like a little bit more practice, check out the video that I had put inside of the notes inside of the YouTube video, okay? Otherwise, what you could do is you could also go to this game right here. I have this game that you could use to practice, just to practice those multiplication facts and multiplying or dividing by base 10. You can click on that right here. Okay, that gives you more information about the base 10 that we've been working with. Or this game right here, it is called mathgames.com. This gives you more practice on those types of problems, okay? So for example, let me just quickly show you this.
Base 10 fun. Read and make hundreds.
Practicing making those base 10 numbers, okay? So
Make
for
the
example,
number at the top of the screen by dragging the
number,
base 10
365,
snakes
by
from the
dragging
notebook.
the numbers
Remove snakes by
over
dragging them back. Get
just to
5
make
correct
those
in a
numbers. So
row and earn a new snake style.
365 is 300s, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. Let's check it. Okay, we got that correct. Good. Another problem that you guys could do is this one right here that says just mathgames.com. You're just following the directions, answering those questions. And then there is one more game, one more activity that you could do, which I will put in the notes. It's on this website, khanacademy.com. Okay, Khan Academy not only has these videos that you could watch, but also it has lots of different other resources that are after the videos. So for example, you watch a video and then you can play one of these games on the bottom. Okay, you can check your answers, you can submit it, and check to see how well you are doing on this concept. So it's been a pleasure. We will talk to you guys later. Bye, 5th grade.